Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable business intermediaries from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Antoinette Payne. She's the founder of Pacific Coast Brokers Incorporated. Antoinette, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark.
Tell us a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of clients that you really specialize in helping?
Okay. I've been in real estate for over 30 years, and probably for the last 20, I've specialized in business brokerage rather than real property brokerage. Most of the businesses that I help transfer from ownership are small businesses, in any place from 100,000 to 600,000, maybe in regards to value of business. A lot of them are restaurants, and then a lot of them seem to be construction based, either landscaping or fire equipment or that type of thing. So those are the clients that I've worked with. And I have a website, and it has all my, not all my solds, but at least the most recent sold properties or sold businesses.
Tell us a little bit about these sellers. When they go to sell their businesses, are they well informed in the process? Have they experienced it before? Or is this kind of the first time they're going through the sale of a business? What are they like?
Most of them are like your second scenario, where they are really surprised at how involved it is to sell a business. And that's, what I help them do is actually move through the different stages of a business sale. And they're definitely stages. You can't really jump over, if you get an offer that you don't like, then you counter it. And then the other person, so there's stages that you have to let each party go through. You can't just tell them I could tell them right off the bat that offer is probably not going to be accepted, but I don't do that usually. I usually let them make the offer. I will advise, but we have to let them make the offer, because I'm not the one making the decision. It's the buyer and the sellers that are making the decisions. So if a buyer makes an offer and I'm pretty clear it's not going to be accepted, it still needs to go to the seller so that the seller can let the buyer know that that's not acceptable, and you either want my business under these terms, or we move on. And kind of the same thing happens for the buyer's position.
For new sellers, oftentimes when people are unfamiliar with something, the first question they always ask is, "Hey, how much do you charge?" Right? They don't really know what to ask. What kind of questions do you get from them? And are there any myths or misconceptions that are tied with them? What do you hear from them when they first reach out to you?
I think that when people first reach out to me, they're interested to know, how I would value their business. And of course, I can't do that without specific income information. So that's the first thing. Like, can you just tell me offhand what you think my business will sell for? And it's just not fair to them or to me to throw a number out. So that's usually the first question. And then you're right. They usually want to know what the fees are involved. And I don't know if you want me to kind of go into that here, but business brokers typically charge 10%. Um, Personally, I feel like if you're selling a $400,000 business, that you don't really need to earn 40,000 on it. So I'm usually pretty flexible with commission based on what the purchase price is and what I feel like is fair, and of course what we negotiate between the seller and myself. Because
With the
sellers pay commission, as with real estate, sellers pay commission, buyers, agents get paid through the seller's agent.
The inspiration for this series came from the headlines of the Great Resignation and so many people wanting to leave their corporate jobs for a new chapter in their lives, often working for themselves. And of course,
Yeah.
buying an existing business is a much smarter way to go than trying to be a pioneer and grow something from scratch. So, what have you seen in your marketplace? Has that Great Resignation really affected and brought more buyers into the market? And what has it done for the sellers?
I believe that yes, there are more buyers into the marketplace, depending upon the business that you're selling, and those you get through the leads that you get. And I typically advertise on Biz Buy Sell and other portals that business buyers look to for existing businesses for sale. Um, So yeah, I believe that there is more activity in the business brokerage world. I also feel like a lot of what's going on is, of course, COVID really created a situation where a lot of the restaurants had to close down. So there's a lot of vacant spaces available too. So there's people that are tied into leases that are looking just to get out of their lease. And, I can help them with that. I've done it in the past. It's not quite the same as a business brokerage, but it does help a business owner who's locked into a tight lease, find somebody who might want that location and maybe do something entirely different with. So yeah, I agree with you. There is kind of a stage right now where people are saying, hey, maybe the field I was in wasn't really my life's choice. Now is a really good time for me to switch over. And then there's that whole senior population, myself included, where at 70 we're not quite ready to give it up and go fishing. So there's that whole senior population that is looking to continue to be in the workplace. And so buying a business, whether it be a small coffee shop where you can work part-time or get people to help you or whatever, it still keeps people involved in enterprise and the economic situation.
Great insights. When you start to work with sellers, do you find any big common mistakes that they make when they start to prepare their business for sale? Any big ones that you can kind of warn people about?
I would just say that the best, if you can get your numbers together, if you can provide a buyer with a really nice presentation with regards to what your business has done over the last 3 years, the businesses that have really straightforward um, uh, QuickBook information, who are their clients, how much is their, product, all that is in addition to what are their last 3 years P&Ls and balance sheets look like. I think those are the businesses that are easier for me to sell, because otherwise you kind of have to break it apart and put it back together, meaning that you have to take those P&Ls and really look at them with a magnifying glass and see, maybe there's items in there like the seller's salary that can be put back into the bottom line, or all that. So I think that having books in order really helps get the business sold. And I'm not sure what other part of that. I think there was a second part of that question.
Oh, no, you covered it very well. Antoinette, I was going to ask you, um, what inspired you to become a business intermediary? Like, how did you get started brokering businesses?
Oh, thank you. That's a kind of a good question. I got started because I was selling real estate, and in California, not in every state, but in California, you have to have a real estate license in order to sell businesses, even though it usually doesn't involve the sale of the real property. There's a lease involved, and I usually help the buyer negotiate the lease with the seller's landlord. At any rate, I got involved because prior to 30 years ago, selling real estate, moving to an area where I looked around, and I lived on the Central Coast at that time, California Central Coast, San Luis Obispo area. And I looked around and I thought, oh my God, there's title companies, there's construction companies, there's real estate companies. What do I do here? I had already been in radio advertising for a good decade prior to that, helping people, get radio advertising. So I was used to working with business owners. So that's kind of what happened there. It was a really competitive field, but getting in real estate, which it is here in the Bay Area as well as most places, it's very competitive for new agents. And so I started looking to talking to business owners because it was something that I was comfortable doing, and because of my history with radio time sales. And so that's how I got into it. And then now I'm into it because as a semi-retired person, I only take a few clients at a time. I get those businesses sold, and then I take on some more businesses and I get those sold. So I like to keep my attention towards my clients pretty limited. So I don't have 30 or 40 agents under me, and I currently don't have 20 or 30 listings under me. I have several. And so in my late stage of semi-retirement, there's not all that running around taking buyers door to door, and there's just a lot. It's a lot less labor intensive, although it is more involved. So I'll put it like that. It's a lot less physically labor intensive than being a realtor and selling real property, but it also has more involvement and more knowledge. That's not maybe more knowledge, but there's a lot of things that a business broker needs to know. Um, to carry a business from an offer to a closing. And a lot of that is handled through the escrow company too. But I recently closed a really nice business that didn't want to deal with an escrow company. They wanted to deal with just the attorneys. So we did it that way. So, and they're all different, but that's how I personally got into business brokerage.
And that's a lot of really specialized knowledge, I imagine.
That's kind of what I was thinking that I meant to say. Exactly. It's
Absolutely.
not this.
Antoinette, before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask that you feel is important to share in regards to selling a business today?
Who are we talking to? Are we talking to business owners or people who want to become
Sellers,
business
somebody that's
owners?
considering selling and exiting their business. What is it that I didn't think to ask that you think is important to share?
Mhm. I think knowing that the sale of your business usually is and can be very confidential is an important aspect for a business seller because sometimes they don't care. But I personally think that you know customers get kind of jittery, employees get kind of jittery when there's change, and you just want confidentiality to be of utmost importance because you actually might be talking to your competitor. They might want to be rolling over into acquiring your business, so you want to be really careful about the information that you give them until you're really locked into an agreement and you have to give them all the information, that type of thing. So I think confidentiality is an important aspect of business sales, which doesn't come into play with real estate sales.
For folks listening now that would love to speak with you regarding perhaps selling their business or looking for a business to purchase, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Okay. Well, I do have a website. It's www.pacificcoastbrokers.com. All connected, pacificcoastbrokers.com. So that's my website, and I am a realtor person who answers their phone. So I have a phone number too, but that's on my website, and feel free. But I can give it here. It's 415-948-4629. But yeah, my website, that I'm on Biz Buy Sell, I'm on BizQuest. I advertise where business um, prospects, business people looking to buy a business are going to be looking.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you so much. It was you asked really good questions, and I appreciate that. And you made this very easy without having a lot of prep on my part. So appreciate that.
That was Antoinette Payne. She's the founder of Pacific Coast Brokers Incorporated. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books published to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.